Without having one skill you're teaching, you will be a terrible coach. And I'm just keeping it 100 because a lot of times as coaches, we try to teach everything because we know everything. So we want to throw the entire encyclopedia on top of their head. But the problem is, if you don't have one thing you're teaching them, one skill, one principle, one point that you're teaching them, then you're overwhelming your client and they won't make progress. Because at the end of the day, we're in this game to actually help people make progress, move forward, get the transformation that we want to help them get as coaches. But if we're not being effective coaches because maybe we don't know what coaching is or what does great coaching look like, then we will not make the type of impact we want to make in the world. And most importantly, we will not be able to generate the type of revenue we want to generate. So what's so great about this coaching world is this. Our goal is we want to be able to train and teach people to get them from point A to Z, while at the same time having a profitable business. Maybe you want time freedom. Maybe you want financial freedom. Maybe you want to travel the world, and maybe you want to be home with the kids more. Regardless of what you want to do, it's all going to come down to how effectively are you helping people and getting them to that next level in their business. So if this is your first time meeting me, hello, my name is Terrell Jones, and I am a business coach, and I work with you, and I'm going to show you how to make six figures as a coach. And today we're talking about what is coaching, and I'm going to show you specifically what is it and how to be a great coach using the coaching quadrant. So I hope you're excited about that. Now, how I really learned this is just throughout my years of trying to figure this out and wanting to kind of help people, but not knowing how to do it. I started off in this industry working as a college development coach, trying to show students how to graduate and get into their career field. However, I knew how to show you how to do a resume. I know how to show you how to get an internship, but I had no idea specifically about how to actually run a coaching business or what actually a coaching business really even was. So I struggled a long time really trying to figure out what does coaching actually look like and how to actually fulfill on that. What is an example of what it actually looks like, and how do I actually conduct a coaching session? So I spent a lot of years spinning my wheels trying to figure that out. And it took me a few years to kind of get my footing in, but it wasn't until I started learning things like the coaching quadrant, which I'm getting ready to share with you today, which is actually a framework that I created, and I'm excited to really kind of share with you how I became an effective coach and what does fulfilling on a coaching session actually really look like in terms of that. So I hope you're excited. I hope you're excited about that, because we're going to take this to a whole nother level, right? Now, what is this a tribute to? So this teaching one skill really comes down to this. It comes down to helping them do it over and over and over again, like mastering this one thing. And when you can help people see it from different angles, that is when they're really gonna skyrocket in terms of their level of success. And I'm gonna tell you this, I had a coach, and one of the things that they were trying to get me to be was my authentic self, try to get me to be more of what we call an extemporaneous speaker, where you can kind of just speak off the cuff. Folks say, yo, coach, like how do you, a lot of folks call me Coach T, right? So Terrell, Coach T. So they say, yeah, Coach T, how do you actually just speak so fluently and off the cuff and you don't have any notes? And the reason I'm able to do that is obviously I've been doing this for a long time, but I've honed my skills over and over and over again. That gave me an opportunity or the ability to just speak off the whim like that. But I'm gonna tell you, one of the things that worked for me was when I had my coach, he worked on one skill, and the one skill was being able to know your topic so well that you can just speak off the cuff about it. So one of the things that he gave me was a deck of cards, and not a deck of playing cards, but a deck of what do you call it? The note cards, right? Blank note cards. So I had these note cards, and what he did is he said, okay, well, write like dictionary words on a note card. So I wrote them out, all the note cards. I just basically chose random words out of the dictionary and wrote them on note cards. And I took that one skill, and day after day after day, I would pick a word, and then I would just talk about my topic. Pick a word, talk about my topic. So if you focus on trauma, life coaching, business, health, the youth, students, fitness, trauma, whatever it is, whatever you focus on, you can pick any words and then use a word and then figure out how to talk about your topic using that word in a sentence. And that's all it was. What it allowed me to do was have a focal point that allowed me to just go off the cuff and just start talking about it. And because I understood it, because I had something to use, because I realized how this can help me, that I did it over and over and over, and it really helped me become a better speaker. So if you are not constantly reevaluating the mistakes that you're making, you will continue to make the same mistakes, have the same problems over and over year after year. You're going to be frustrated. Why isn't this working for me? Yo, Coach T, why can't I get any clients? Why can't I attract any attention? Why can't I've been trying to figure out for the last few years how to put together a curriculum and a program and get leads, and I hear it all over and over and over again. And the reason I can say that is because I've been in a place where I've been trying to figure out, well, how do I actually build this business? What do I really need to do? And have I really been learning from my mistakes? Because I met a lady a few months ago who's been literally doing this business for 20 years. And she was making the same mistakes every single year. She was like, Coach, I'm trying to make my first $5,000 a month. And after 20 years, I didn't even know this was in existence 20 years ago. And she's still trying to make her first $5,000. And that's not a comparison, but it goes to show, just because you're in this for a long time doesn't mean you've been making progress and building this for a long time. So that is the key. What is good, my people? I'm looking at my IG fam. What's popping? Good to see y'all in the building. Debater, author, Muffy, BMW, I see you. What's good, y'all? So if you just jumped on, again, how we're gonna do this is we're gonna go through. I'm just gonna rattle off some of my top mistakes. If you hit any bars or insights, drop it below. If you have any questions, drop it below. And then I'm gonna offer you a resource to be able to give you help with your business. And then we'll go into some Q&A for a few minutes. All right. So that's what we focused on today. Now, just some of the things that I'm gonna tell you why this is important. Over the years, I realized I've been in this business and in this industry for the last 8 years. What I've learned is that if you're not very meticulous and intentional about overcoming the mistakes that you've been making in the past, you will be either in the same spot, or more than likely your results will get worse. And I can say that because I've been in places where I thought I can just do the same activities over and over and over, and I would get the same result. I would tend to get the same result, or I would just be doing things that I thought was correct, but it wasn't necessarily best business practice. And I found it hard for me to make things happen. So when I first started this industry, I was working with college students, and I was helping them graduate college and get into their career field. Now, I went to a HBCU. Shout out to everybody who went to HBCU. Shout out to everybody who went to a college. And I noticed that I did my undergrad in computer engineering, and I ended up graduating and going into cybersecurity, making great money doing cybersecurity, like making good money. Now, I ended up getting to a place where a lot of my fraternity brothers, shout out to the Sigmas, right? I had a lot of my fraternity bros and my friends who they didn't necessarily graduate college, or they graduated, but they didn't get into the career field that they wanted to get into. So outside of just making the money, I'm like, yo, you spend tens of thousands of dollars on college, you need to at least get into your career field. So that is where my journey started in this industry, trying to figure it out. But the challenge was I had no idea how to actually run the business. I'm good at communicating with people. I love helping people. I love giving good advice. I love the smile that comes to their face. I love when they come back to me with results, but I didn't understand the business. So when I started doing this, I was literally all over the place trying to do speaking, coaching. I was just trying to help people any way that I could. But I was never able to quite get over the hump. I was never really able to make a few $1,000s. I made a couple $100s here or there because I made a course, I made a book, and I was making pennies. And what really changed the game for me, and this is really kind of going into my initial mistake, is one of the first mistakes is I didn't seek out a blueprint, right? The name of my program, I have a program that's called the PCS certification program. PCS stands for the playbook, the coaching and speaking. I did not have a playbook when I first started. I was just out here doing whatever I thought I should do. But if I had to reverse the hands of time, I would have seeked somebody who had the playbook, at least a better playbook than I had, because obviously it wasn't working. I was spinning in circles for like 3 years, 2-3 years, trying to just figure this whole thing out. Without knowing the foundations to building your coaching business, you're going to always find yourself in a cycle of trying to figure it out, like me, for years doing research, for years studying, for years, let me join this podcast, for years, let me join this YouTube channel, for years, just wandering around and trying to play, whack-a-mole, or trying to piece together a puzzle piece, a puzzle board, and not know what to do in order to get clients and build a successful business. You ever tried putting together, you ever had a puzzle, but you just couldn't find all of the right pieces to put in place, and you're like, damn, like, what do I need to do in order to really like see the full picture? That's how I feel like a lot of people are moving in their businesses. Like, they're getting little bits and pieces from different places, but because they don't have the mentorship and the coaching, they find it continuously hard to succeed and start a successful coaching business. So that's what we're gonna be talking about today. We're gonna be doing some interviews. What is good, my people? What's up? So I'm gonna bring Denise on. By the way, Denise, this is a real coaching session, so we're really gonna work this through with you, because there's a lot of folks on here that there's a lot of folks who they really need the help, but they don't know what it's like to get coaching. You know what I'm saying? Because they kind of just starting, or they never really had a coach before. So this is really like a taste of what it looks like, at least coaching with me specifically. So Denise, what is going on, superstar? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal, taking it one day at a time. We got Denise in the building, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm excited. I'm excited for this because Denise, you rocking with us, right? You rocking with us now in terms of coaching. And there's a lot of folks out here that haven't made the decision to get coaching yet. And there's a lot of folks who they're on the edge of like, is this really valuable? You know what I'm saying? I've been rocking with Isaac for a few months, as you already know. And I know you kind of low-key been behind the scenes, like looking and stuff, right? So, but there's a lot of folks who are just like, yo, I don't know if coaching is for me, or, they don't really know what it's like to be coached, especially in their business. So this is a real coaching session, and we're doing this for the benefit of the community. But it's kind of like folks are flying on the wall, but we're really gonna do this today. All right, cool. All right, y'all excited? Go ahead and drop excited in the chat, and let's get this going. So, Denise, let's kind of start from, just so everybody has context. Where you from? Who's your ideal client, and what are you looking to help them achieve?
So I am currently in Westchester County in New York. Who is my ideal client? That would be parents, caregivers, nonprofit organizations that are looking for guidance to help families, the community, with children and youth with special health care needs, more specifically children with autism, young adults with autism, and navigating that world, because it is a specific sort of lifestyle that one has to navigate through. And I navigate it myself with 3 children that are on the spectrum and autistic, and looking to bring a level of structure, a level of resourcefulness and ingenuity to that lifestyle, so that it doesn't encompass or overtake you. And that's really what I'm here to do when it comes to the not-for-profits, consulting with them to help them also deal with these families in like fashion, where they're giving all that they need, not some of what they need, because they don't always know how to approach. And being that I have certain backgrounds and I have the actual experience, I'm definitely quite authoritative in that area.
All right, love it. All right, so let's do it. So let's start. So, in terms of like, what's the first question that comes to your mind, or what do you feel like is the biggest challenge that you're faced with right now?
Elephant in the room, money. It's getting this particular population of people that I would be looking towards, if they have the funds, to then be able to allocate them toward the investment, which would be me, to bring that level of security to an extent that they're going to be able to deal with this lifestyle in a whole new and dynamic way, that they understand what investment means, sort of like what you're trying to do with your coaching, talking to people about investing in themselves, which in turn invests into the community, and making them see that it's less about the price tag and more about the value.
Got it. So really getting folks to invest themselves so you can really help take them to the next level, right? So these are folks too. So I guess the first question is, are you already having these conversations with folks and offering them the ability to make that investment, or this is more like speculation and it's like based on what I'm hearing or seeing? Like, where are you getting this data from?
So, like many people, we offer our solicited and unsolicited advice, help, suggestions, and whatnot. And I came to a conclusion that I wanted to put a value monetarily on what I know and what I share. And that bridge has not been solidified yet. So it has been a bit challenging to keep information to myself when I know it could benefit people. Yeah. But I'm learning that I do have to value what I know and to bring it to a level where people are going to solicit it from me, not me offering it. So that's where I am right now.
Got it. So how much is your services? How much is your coaching right now?
I'm starting out right now at $2,500 for 4 weeks.
Got it. 500 for 4 weeks. So let's stop there for a second. So you said it's really getting them to see that they need to invest in themselves. So have you made that offer to anybody yet?
Two individuals, yes.
2 individuals. Okay. And the response was what from? Like, what did you get from? Well, who were they? First of all, who were they? Like, what was the profile of them? Like, so give a brief explanation of the profile, because there may be the reason I'm asking is because there might be a certain profile of people that it might not necessarily be a great fit for, but we don't know yet. So give me the profile of the person and give me the response once you made the offer to them.
So one is a social worker who has a son that is 15 years old. He's autistic. He's in a school, residential school, and is able to do certain things for himself. She's having a hard time, not just monetarily, but also with work and with dating and all that encompasses what she's needing to do for herself and for her son. And although she would like to invest in, because she knows I'm able to sort of map things out, and as long as she just kind of like trusts the process, she would get far. It's making that step, that leap, where she has other expenses, and clearly, they need to be met. And this would be something that's a little more idealistic and more conceptual for her, rather than saying this is something I need, like medication, like something that you would need today. So let me, and by the way, if I cut you off, that's just because I want to make sure we can get as much in as possible. So what's the end result? So like, so she's investing $2,500 in this program. What's the end result that you're promising for her and her son? Right now, it's breaking down all of the core issues that are going on that she's been having trouble with, not just in the last 12 months, but what's been happening that she's having trouble with and what is to come. For example, guardianship versus whatever other alternatives there might be. I have answers for that. Right. Got it. Okay. All right, cool. So a couple things. First is the offer, right? So your offer is essentially, I'm gonna work with you and your child for 4 weeks.
I think 4 weeks is way too short. The reason I'm saying 4 weeks is too short is because, change definitely doesn't happen overnight, right? But really, it's too short because people need time to implement. Because you'll be surprised how fast 4 weeks, like 4 weeks, like that's very, very quick. So that's one thing. And then when you say 4 weeks, it's kind of like psyching yourself out because it's not really 4 weeks. It's only like 4 hours, right? Because you're not working with them all week. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. But what I would say is, one, you got to make the offer more sexy. If my clients know, and you'll hear more about it in the program, but I talk a lot about an executive offer, and I talk a lot about making what you have sexy. The reason you got to make it sexy is because they have to see joining your program and me having Denise as my coach is a way better investment than me keeping the money in my pocket. And that's really how they have to think, because if they're like, oh, okay, it sounds good, but I'm not willing to get the money. I don't have the money and I'm not willing to get the money to do it. That means that what you have is not, you know what I'm saying, is not enticing enough for them to say, you know what, or they're not feeling the benefits. Although you like, yo, I can help you with so many things. Oh my God, you don't know, I'll blow your mind. But they don't, because they don't feel that and they don't understand that, to them, they perceive it as, okay, it's nice, but it's not a necessity. People really have to feel like it's a necessity. So the best way to do that is to make it sexy. So what are some ways to make your offer sexy? So one is you can give more time. Like a lot of time people are afraid of, yo, can I really do this? Do I have the time to do it? I got all of these things going on with my kids, myself. I got this, I got my job. I'm doing this nonprofit. I got to go to the hospital. Right. So they wrapped up in so many things. They're afraid that they're going to look up and the program is going to be over and they're out 2,500. Right. So the thing is, you want to give people time, give people enough time to where you can actually help them really get results. You know what I'm saying? So I would say extending that 4 weeks into about 4 to 6 months. That would be the first thing that I would say. That makes it more sexy because it's like, okay, now I have time now, right? I have time to actually get results, I have time to see things that are going to happen. So I would say extend it. In terms of making an offer more sexy, I will focus on adding additional deliverables. Right, so additional deliverables, like I think you might have saw the video where I talked about the 3 Ps, right? We talked about principles, product, and price, right? So the principles are like your your product is like your deliverables that you're gonna add as part of your offer. So I would say something like give me some examples of, outside of just coaching with you, that in itself is very valuable. But what else could you give? What else could you give this person to really solve their challenges, alleviate their pain? And I'll give you some examples. It could be, you might know a therapist. You could give them a free one-on-one session with a therapist. It could be certain books. It could be, I don't know, going to the spa. I don't care what it is, but anything in the world, what could you give them to really help them resolve this challenge faster or easier?
So the goal is, once that playbook is done and submitted, right? So once you're finished and you upload it to the Facebook group, as you add a file, we'll check it out, make sure it looks good, or we'll say, hey, you know what? Boom, you might want to tighten this up, tighten that up. Once it looks, once that's official, the next thing you're going to want to do is actually build it, because at this point, it's still on paper. So the part that you really want to focus on is the part where we really talk about the different technologies and software, right? So you're going to need a paid Zoom account if you're doing are you doing your course through Zoom or over the phone?
Zoom.
All right, cool. So if you're going to do it, since you're doing it through Zoom is going to require a paid account. Free accounts only go up to 40 minutes. You don't want your phone calls cutting off in 40 minutes. Right? It's embarrassing, right? Like, she can't even get this together, right? So you want to, make sure, so then you got to, it's just like $15, but $15, get a paid Zoom account, and that's going to allow you to you can talk for an hour plus, right? I don't know, I think it might be unlimited, right? But you can talk for as long as you want to talk, right? So that's one. We have email marketing software we recommend you sign up for. You need a place to store the materials and the resources of your group. So whether that's going to be on a Google Drive or a Facebook group or Kajabi or whatever you selected inside of the playbook, make sure that you actually, either sign up for the softwares or at least get that in place. Even if you do it through Google, and you got a Google Drive with a bunch of empty folders there, that's fine, because you're gonna eventually fill it up with worksheets or other materials that you give your clients.
Which one do you recommend for that one, for the live video?
Start off small. Like, so if you're gonna do, so if you're doing Zoom, right? And then that means that you should be, well, I recommend that you give clients access to the replay. So if you're gonna give your clients access to the replay, then you need a place to store those videos. So if you notice, we store our videos in Kajabi. However, you just gaining some momentum, so you don't necessarily have to use Kajabi, right? Because that's a little bit more, it's gonna cost a little bit over $100 for that per month, right? So what I would recommend then is start off with like a Google Drive or like a Dropbox, right? We just give you examples, but basically start off with any kind of like cloud, save it there, and that's where you're gonna upload your videos to.
Okay, and they can access it from there.
Bingo. Are you starting off with one-on-one or group, or what's gonna be your front end?
I think probably is one-on-ones always seems to just happen. So I'm thinking one-on-one. Like you said, for time-wise, I think the group would be great. But people like that personal one-on-one too. That when they want to share, be intimate. So.
Yep, yeah, love it. So there you go. So then what you'll do is you'll take those videos, those Zoom videos, and then you'll upload it to their cloud. You'll upload it to their folder.
Oh, okay.
You feel what I'm saying? So now they can go back and they can rewatch all of those sessions, and that's going to be great for you, because the more they rewatch and consume information, the more that it's going to sink in, right? Because just because you told them about self-love and confidence, one call don't mean that they mastered it. They just heard it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes people repetition for people to get it, for people to understand it, right? Like, there's things that I've heard years ago, but it didn't click until 2-3 years later. Once I was actually in motion getting things done, I reread the book, or I reread the line, or I rewatched the video or training. I'm like, damn, it's like I never saw this before.
Right. It's brand new.
It's like brand new, and the reason it's brand new is because I've grown and I have a new perspective. So you feel what I'm saying? So now I understand and I get things, and I understand things differently from actually putting action. So it's gonna be the same thing with you, right? Even if you go back and do the replays, you're gonna watch maybe a training that we did. You're gonna be here 6 months, a year. You're gonna look back, you maybe like some old training, like, damn, coach talked about this last year, or he talked about this like 6 months ago. Let me check it out. You're gonna watch it, and it's probably gonna be a session that you were actually on and you attended live. But at the time, it didn't really click until you watched it again 6 months later, and you're like, oh, you get it, because you've been in motion, putting in work.
If you stay ready, you never have to lose opportunities. Coach T, why do you say that? Because a lot of times we come across all of these good opportunities. We come across, people that can change our lives. We come across these coaches and these mentors, and because we're coming across them, we think that, things could just naturally happen, or maybe they'll just want to help me out, or maybe I can pick their brain. And the people who are doing things at a high level that you want to get the most help from, these are the people that are really working with the people who can actually afford it and invest in themselves. Why do I mention that? Is because there's been times where I haven't been able to take advantage of opportunities because I wasn't ready. I was working in my 9-to-5 job. I was getting money, but I wasn't being a good steward of the funds that I currently have to allow that to leapfrog me and take me to a better position in life. I couldn't take advantage of opportunities that would help take my business to the next level because I wasn't paying attention to the things that I needed, who I needed to be in order to achieve my goals. Right now, I work a lot with businesses, entrepreneurs, specifically people who want to start online coaching businesses. The problem that I see is a lot of times they're not ready when the opportunity comes. They're not ready when the potential partnership comes. It's almost in a constant state of unreadiness. You ever felt like that? You ever felt like you're in a constant state of unreadiness? Maybe you had an opportunity to get some help, or maybe you had an opportunity to do a partnership, or maybe you had an opportunity to go to an event, maybe had an opportunity to join a program or to take a course, but it's like I'm never quite ready. I'm fearful of what happens if I take that next step. And you keep procrastinating. And what happens is it just takes you so long to go to the next level. Give you some examples of what you can do to really stay ready, so you're not in a constant state of what do I need to do, right? And I can talk because that was me for a long time. So I'm gonna give you a couple of things to do. All right. So one, this is something that by the way, I never really spoke about. So I'm giving y'all some exclusive right here. So one, I want you to open up an investment account. I want you to open up an investment account. Number one, I want you to do that. Open up an investment account. Coach T, why do I need to open up an investment account? When I open up an investment account, what that allowed me to do is that allowed me to not necessarily investment in stocks, but investment in your business. So what that means is every time that I got money, every time even that I get money, I take a percentage of that and I put it into this investment account. That's important because now I can get ready for opportunities, right? I can get ready for opportunities. I can stay ready for opportunities, right? Which is what the point of this video is, right? Is how to stay ready, right? How to stay ready, right? So if we're talking about how to stay ready, we stay ready by being prepared for opportunities when they come. How could you take your business to the next level if you're not learning from the people that came before you? Now, we could all try to learn through trial and error, but if we're learning through trial and error, what is that really saying?